After India's successful surgical strike targeting terror training camps and launch pads in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, there is a tactical shift in ISI's anti-India operations. Top sources in India's intelligence agencies have told India today the ISI is establishing launch pads along India's eastern borders with Myanmar. There is a shift in ISI's tactics to target India. Secret terror launch pads are being established along the Myanmar border, also in Thailand. ISI is training the displaced Rohingya Muslims to target India. Displaced refugees are seeking rehabilitation across several cities in India, including in Jammu, in Delhi and in Hyderabad. Fundamentalist outfits in Bangladesh, according to top sources, have been roped in, even as the Sheikh Hasina government in Bangladesh is cracking down on Islamic fundamentalists in her country. I want to quickly bring in India Today's Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu for the latest on the story. Also joining me on the broadcast is India Today's editor Shiv Arur. Kamal, bring us details of this shift in tactics of Pakistan's ISI.
Gaurav, we know that Pakistan's ISI continues to bleed India by 1,000 cuts, but this is a tactical shift. Not only are they looking to change their strategy from western border, where there have been a spate of number of attacks, but also move towards eastern borders. Significantly, what is important is they've actually found out a foreign launch pad. This is a place, a marriage resort. This is near India. This is between Myanmar and Thailand. And significantly, they've got Pakistani Taliban to train Rohingya Muslims. And remember, some of them have been displaced in Myanmar itself. So they've been brought, they've been lured, and they are the ones who would launch an attack. And it could be an attack in either of the three countries, which could be Myanmar, Bangladesh, and significantly India itself. There are photographs which have emerged where Lashkar-e-Taiba chief Hafiz Saeed is seen sharing stage with Maulana Abdul. He is the man who's obviously one of those who's heading the Rohingya Muslim leadership.
Okay.
But remember, with the increase of population of Rohingya Muslims even in India, there is a significant concern in security agencies that an attack of this kind could be launched, and this is obviously a part of new strategy of the ISI.
Stay with me for a moment. I also want to bring in Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad, former Director General of Infantry, my colleague Shiv Arur, with me on the story. General Shankar Prasad, how serious should this threat be? After India's surgical strike in the west, terrorists shift focus, new launch pads coming up in Myanmar and a training camp spotted in Thailand.
Gaurav, this is something that should have been anticipated. You see, over the last couple of months, the borders with on the western side, both in Punjab and in Rajasthan and of course in Kashmir, have been strengthened to a level that it is becoming pretty much impossible for these guys to do anything worthwhile. And the reaction from here, as we are so well prepared now, is so violent that they're not able to absorb it. So what happens now? They can't give it up. They can't go losing people. And if they continue doing what they were doing, attempting to do it in Kashmir and in Punjab area, they will get a bloody nose. And maybe another something similar to or another surgical strike, which will eliminate a large number of militants and their bases and some bit of the military infrastructure.
Okay.
So obviously the choice is shift them to another place. Now where do they shift them to? The possibilities are Nepal, the possibilities are Sri Lanka, the possibilities are Myanmar. Now, they have chosen Myanmar simply because of the kind of terrain that exists there.
Okay.
You are familiar with the terrain on that border, which is pretty much similar to what Kashmir is. And the major difference is that the border on the Myanmar side is not so well fortified as it is in the Kashmir region. So it is going to be a bit easy. And the second bigger advantage they will gain is that there is another set of militant groups that come into India from Myanmar. And therefore they can say, oh, these guys were not our guys. We didn't do anything. The Pakistan government, the Pakistan army from West Pakistan will say that these were not our people.
Okay.
Somebody else. The guys coming from Europe.
It gives them deniability and it gives them access and operations. But Shiv, India signaled a change in rules of game. First, India hit out at terrorists, northeast terrorists in Myanmar, and then in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. So even if terrorist bases come up in Myanmar or in Thailand, Whether we use covert means or the special forces, there has been a change in rules of game, Shiv.
Definitely been a change of, the rules as far as how India actually handles these particular threats. Obviously, this is an indication. This breaking story by Kamaljeet Gaurav indicates that the ISI will stop at nothing. They've got their machinery sorted on the western flank. Despite the surgical strike that India conducted, a few weeks ago in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, you and I both know there are several more camps which are currently still active, and there are many more resources being added to those existing camps. But with the eastern flank, Marisot, which is on the Thailand-Myanmar border, becoming the nucleus of what is possibly another terror training camp involving Maulana Abdul Qudus, who is a Rohingya leader, along with the Taliban, to attack from the eastern side via Myanmar, through which India has faced terror before as well, means that things will have to be recalibrated by the Indian army, especially on the border, because this obviously means this won't just be secessionist and separatist militants and the insurgency that India has faced in the northeast, but actual active terrorists fighting from the Myanmar side. So this is going to really test the changed game.
Jail Shankar Prasad, Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu and Shiv Arur for the moment. Many thanks for joining me. Keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. India-Myanmar border is a reason for concern because patrolling this border, defenses at this border are not what they ought to be. One border, one force, and this is one border where a lot needs to be done.